Let's hear HB 532 next. Delegate Siebel.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Members of the committee, thank you for having me today. Last year, this is an important bill, and I appreciate the opportunity to tell you about it. Last year in my district, 3 Oakton High School students walking home from school were tragically struck on Blake Lane in Fairfax County by a speeding car driven by a fellow student. 2 of the victims, Ada Gabriela Martinez Nolasco and Lian Hanjia Yan, died. The surviving victim continues to recover from her injuries. I am bringing this bill on behalf of my constituents on Blake Lane who have been calling for change on this road for many years, even before this accident. A few of them are on Zoom or submitted comments. Madam Chair, we need to prioritize pedestrian safety before approving a project, especially near schools. HB 532 was designed to improve pedestrian safety outcomes in school zones. The goal of this bill is to ensure that projects initiated in school crossing zones take into account pedestrian safety first and foremost. For example, Stenwood Elementary School, which sits on Gallows Road in my district near the intersection of Gallows, 66, and 495. VDOT initiated a project to widen Gallows Road from 4 to 6 lanes, which has already taken away the crosswalk for children crossing a very busy street without adding a crosswalk or a light. The kids literally have to play Frogger across a 4-way highway just to get to school in the morning. We must consider student safety when projects take place in school zones. Getting our children to and from school should be our utmost priority. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Delegate. Any questions from the committee members? Any comments in the audience? In favor? We have one person online who, and I'd just like to bring up, we are allowing this person to speak because the advocacy group talking about student safety. However, I'd like to reiterate that it's very important if someone is going to speak on Zoom that they register 24 hours in advance. So that's why we didn't have this one named in advance, but we have it now. And so I'd like to call on Mr. Mike Dole.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Mike Doyle, and I'm with the Northern Virginia Families for Safe Streets. We're a pedestrian-focused organization. We have chapters in Northern Virginia, including our Fairfax Families for Safe Streets chapter. We have about 1,500 members, all volunteer organization, and we focus on pedestrian safety. And there's a lot of work. We can go, I won't take the time now, but statistically, Fairfax County has had way too many fatalities, pedestrian fatalities. And even though in this past year, 23, the number of fatalities dropped, it's still, for the 19 families who lost their loved one, it's a very, very difficult process. And equally devastating is the number of people who were seriously injured. That's actually gone up. And a lot of the reasons for these tragedies is that the roads themselves need to be repaired, need to be adjusted for the increase in the number of people who are walking and biking now as we become more urbanized throughout Virginia. So Blake Lane is unfortunately a prime example, and it's taken a long time to fix Blake Lane as one example. So we come from the perspective of the pedestrian safety, and VDOT has been trying to respond more effectively to pedestrian safety, but it's still not enough. It's still not urgent enough. Route 7, Route 1 US South, people are getting killed. Blake Lane, we've been talking about getting things done. It hasn't happened yet. A lot of studies. So this bill will help us, we believe, to try to get a sense of urgency and the perspective of people that are vulnerable on the roads, like pedestrians and cyclists. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle. Anyone else to speak in support of this bill? Anyone in opposition?
Madam Chair, Gordon Dixon with the Virginia Transportation Construction Alliance. Applaud the delegates' proposal here on this bill. It's certainly tragic when you have any kind of issue like this that you have to address. As someone who works with the Construction Alliance and engineers, safety is first and foremost the #1 concern of our members when they're doing their projects. It is the first thing they do in the morning. It's the first thing they do at night to check on things one way or the other. We feel like this bill is a little prescriptive and can cause some delays on projects and to the point where they may not go forward on this and have concerns with this concept the way that it's written. We work with VDOT almost every day on different components, work with them on safety components. We work with the state police on safety, trying to find ways to improve those components. Our design engineers are always looking at safety as their key component on this. So we have had concerns on the bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Mitchell Smiley. I'm with the Virginia Municipal League, and I think that the goal of this bill is laudable. I think that there is a pedestrian safety issue that certainly needs to be addressed in the delegates district as well as on the road to the Commonwealth. However, as written, I do have concerns that if you have a safety audit for pedestrian safety, the language of the bill says that it shall be incorporated into the project plan, any recommendations that are made, or the project will be canceled. That's, I think, overly prescriptive, given if you're trying to make improvements and there are recommendations that either for budgetary reasons or practical reasons can't be included in the project, would have to be canceled. And so that would lead to projects not being done in school zones, even if the locality wanted to improve safety. I do think the idea of having a pedestrian safety focused road audit is a great idea, and we would be happy to be involved in conversations with VDOT on the development of that sort of safety audit. So, but because of the prescriptive nature of the bill, we do have problems with it as written and introduced.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, James Hutzer, Virginia Association of Counties. I do want to second everything my colleague Mitchell with VML just said. We want to thank the delegate for hearing our concerns and working with us. We have, like I said, the same concerns that VML has. And we hope to be involved in any discussion that follows the fate of this bill. So thank you all.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience?
Madam Chair, members of the committee, we met with the delegate, with Delegate Seabold and with her aide yesterday. And while we appreciate the intent behind the legislation, we do feel like there might be some unintended consequences with the way it's drafted now. And we would be more than happy to work with her and others to address the language and perhaps put the bill in a better position with regard to those unintended consequences.
Thank you. Any other comments from the committee or in the audience? I believe at this point we've had a recommendation to gently lay this on the table and request that a letter be sent to VDOT so we can work as Ms. Maxwell had said, we can work because we know the importance of the pedestrian and student safety. Do I have a motion to that effect?
Second.
All right. Those in favor, please indicate on the board the interest in sending this with a letter to VDOT. That motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Delegate Siebel, for bringing this forward.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it, and thank you, members of the committee.